Hi, this is Joe Krein. We're on Elvis Radio, and I have Lamar Fike with me. Lamar, how you doing, sir?
I'm fine, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Can we start off? Can you tell me where you were born and where you were raised?
Well, I was born in Cleveland, Mississippi, and I was born in November 11th, 1935, and I was raised in Cleveland, and then moved to Memphis when I was about probably 10 or 11, and I was raised really in Cleveland and Memphis, and that's where I really grew up.
What did your parents do?
My dad was a farm implement salesman, and my mother was just a housewife.
Mm-hmm. So you lived in Memphis. Where did you go to school?
I went to school at Treadwell High. I went to school in Nashville. I started off at a school called East High School, and then I ended up going to Columbia Military Academy for almost 3 years, and then I came back and graduated from Treadwell.
So you never went to Hume's or anything like that? You never knew Elvis in high school? So when did you first hear about Elvis, and were you a fan?
Well, yeah. I met Elvis in '54. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a case of being a fan. He was just starting. So
yeah.
I met him with Sam Phillips introduced me to him at the Chiska Hotel. I went over to see Dewey Phillips, and Sam and I were friends, and Sam's one turned me on to him, and so I met him there in the lobby in '54. We went up and saw Dewey and Wink Martindale and everybody. So.
What did Sam say about it? I mean, what did he say? I got this.
Excuse me. Sam knew that what he had. It was just a case of, developing it. Just like anything else, Sam felt like that he had a great ballad singer, as he said. Mm-hmm. The funny thing about it is he turned out to be a great ballad singer. So.
Yeah, he did. So can you tell me about the first time that you first met Elvis?
Met him in the lobby of the Chiska Hotel, Chisca in Memphis, and unusual looking. I just couldn't believe how he looked. And he was he was sort of shy, and just an interesting person. We talked for about probably 15, 20 minutes, then we went upstairs and to WHBQ and visited up there, and so. After that, we just sort of stayed in touch.
Uh-huh. So when did you first start, call work for Elvis?
Really, I used to go back and forth out the house when he lived in Alderman Drive. Mm-hmm. And, I'd see him there, and then he basically sometime I would go out with him, like on a small road trip or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I really didn't start to work for him until, I went on some, just like I said, some dates with him. But I moved back to Texas, and my mother and I and my sister, and I went to work for a radio station there in Jacksonville, Texas, and I got tired and quit. And called him, and he had swallowed a cap off his tooth when he was getting ready to do Jailhouse Rock. And, he answered the phone in his room, and I said, well, how you doing? He said, hey, Lamar, we talked a few minutes, and he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I just quit a radio station, and I don't like being a disc jockey. He said, well, why don't you just come on out here? And I said, really? He said, yes. Come on. I never thought about that. He said, well, just get in your car and come on. He said, I'm at the Beverly Walsh Hotel. We're starting Jailhouse Rock. And I said, well, okay, I'll see you in a couple of days. So I packed my clothes up and got in the car and drove to California.
Wow.
I was 21 years old.
Wow. So now you knew Vernon and Gladys?
Yeah, I'd already met him, been around him, yeah.
Were they good people?
Always were.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm going to trip on my questions here. Can you tell me a little about them, about Vernon and Gladys?
Well, Joe, they basically just were what they were. They were really good, strong, she was a very strong Christian family, and she was a real, for the country upbringing, and just really a good spirit. She was just a good overall person, very, very personable, and she really was quite shy, but she Elvis being an only son, she doted on him, and Vernon was sort of not the breadwinner. Gladys was. So
right.
It was a pretty close-knit family.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. Can you tell me about the early Graceland, when Elvis went to Graceland?
I don't know what you mean, the early Graceland.
Well, the pre-Red period, the pre... I mean, you must have saw Graceland when he first purchased it, right?
No, I saw Graceland first time I saw Graceland was when it was finished.
Mm-hmm.
Finished Jailhouse Rock, and I came back, and that's when I moved in.
Mm-hmm.
But it was totally finished. It was, as far as I was concerned, pretty elaborate. I liked it. It was just a great place. 14 acres with a wall all the way around it. It was nice and really pretty, I thought. And it really, just the isolation of it was terrific because you were so far away from the fans. They were down at the gate and you were up at the house. So, that part was good. And it was really a quiet place, and we all enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I'm trying to be as. I just want to, learn. I'm trying to ask questions that I think fans would want to ask.
Good. I was like, when I come back at you, I'm trying to qualify what you're saying. So
yeah.
Harm you. That's the way I am. I'm very confrontational.
No, okay. See, I'm not.
I am.
Why was there a Memphis Mafia? Why did Elvis have a Memphis Mafia?
It wasn't a case of Memphis Mafia. We were named the Memphis Mafia by a newspaper woman in Las Vegas who saw us come in because we were all dressed in black, everything, and she said Elvis and his Memphis Mafia were going to the hotel. It was one of those things where Elvis liked a group around him. I mean, before there was anybody, there was us. And Elvis liked his sort of cadre of, he could afford it and he wanted it, and it kept familiar people around him, and he could be himself and do what he wanted to do and do what he wanted to do, and nobody to bother him. It was a buffer zone. The way to say it.
Yeah. Now, you went to Germany, too, when Elvis was drafted, right?
Absolutely.
How was Germany?
Well, see, once again, Joe, you're saying, how was Germany? I don't know. How was it?
Really? I mean, what was your job?
Pre-war.
Yeah.
I mean, it was post-war Germany. It was only 13 years after the war was over with. And it was, turning back into a strong country that it is now. It was, it was only 13 years after the war was over with, so it was really a lot of strong feelings there, So
when Elvis was drafted, he just kind of moved his buffer zone to Germany.
No, he didn't have. The buffer zone was myself and Red West. There was no other buffer zone.
Okay.
He asked me to go with him, and I did, and he asked Red to go, and he did, and Red stayed there 8 months. I was there the 18 months with him, and it was just him and I there for a long time. But, it was a situation where he really, he just always wanted somebody around him, which, look, why not? If you can afford it and you do it, fine, But he took care of all the bills, and I enjoyed myself, so it was like one of those type situations. It's not a case of planning to move, in parentheses, your mafia to Europe. It's a situation of you ask a couple of your friends to come with you. So, excuse me, that's how you do it.
Sure, if I could do it, I would do it.
Anybody would, Joe.
Yeah. How was Elvis as a soldier?
Best he could be. He really, he took care of business. He was really, he enjoyed it, and he really, he liked the anonymity of it for a while, but, that didn't last long.
No.
But, he enjoyed, I guess, the rudiments of it. I think that would be the term. It was, he enjoyed that part of it, so,
Mm-hmm. Now, when Elvis was in Germany, he heard that his mom was not doing well. Can you tell me the effect I know how it would affect me, and I don't mean to be...
No, Joe, that's wrong. You got your chronology wrong.
Okay.
Gladys died before we went to Germany.
Oh, okay. All right.
Gladys died when we were at Fort Hood. She got sick at Fort Hood.
Mm-hmm.
We were living in the mayor's house. That's where she got sick. and we immediately put her on a train, her, and after she started getting real sick, put Vernon and her on a train, and they went back to Memphis, and she checked in the hospital, and she got back in 4 or 5 days, she was dead. I mean, so we got back before she died, but she died a couple of days after we got back. So he wasn't in Germany. He went to Germany without her.
Oh, that had to be awful for him.
Not good at all.
No, well, it would be for anybody. Hey, before Elvis went into the service, was he fearful for his career, like they say?
I don't think it was a case of being fearful. He was nervous about it. He didn't know what was going on. It's that unknown factor again.
Sure.
No, he thought about, well, what would it be like when I get out, and and how will record sales pick back up. I think any artist, I think, would have that sort of fear. I think that when you're in the Army, you're away from everybody.
Yeah.
And they run your life. You don't run it.
Well, the Colonel was very smart releasing songs while he was over there. That was very smart.
Well, he kept the can. The can was basically. I know when Elvis died, the can was empty, but they set it up pretty good. Colonel had a pretty good plan that worked, and everything was played by ear. It wasn't in case of pre-planning. He played it by ear, and Colonel was good at that, and he kept it going that way. So that was the good part of it.
Mm-hmm. Can you remember when Elvis first met Priscilla?
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. Can you tell me about it?
He met her at the house. She came over, and Curry Grant brought her over to the house, and that's when Elvis met her. She was living in a town not far from Baton Rouge. It was actually, I'd say, probably 25 or 30 miles away from Baton, and her father was a navigator on jets, and so in fact he was a captain then, and Curry brought her over, and that's when he met her.
Yeah. Did they hit it right off? I mean, the movies make it feel like their eyes met. Did they hit it right off like that?
Well, I don't know if that was the case. I don't like to romanticize a lot of stuff. I'm sure that he was interested in a 14-year-old girl, which is,
Right.
I don't need to carry that any further.
Right. What was your relationship with the Colonel?
I got along all right with him. He was, he's an interesting man. I always liked him. We got along. We never had any problems, none that I can think of. We just got along okay. And I was never around. I was around him quite a bit, but he was very funny to me, and
how was that?
Very sharp, and I liked that. So I learned a lot from him.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to be too broad here, but can you tell me about the movie years? I mean, I'm sure Elvis liked it in the beginning and grew to
you just picked the biggest brush you could find. I don't know.
I know.
You say the movie years, Joe, it was like, I was out there, and you're around all these stars and things, and you just, it was interesting. It really was. The hours were hard and long, but it was an interesting part of it. I don't know how to describe the movie years.
Right.
They were interesting. We didn't tour anymore. We just did movies, and it was, you started work you get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You're on the set you're in makeup at 5:30. You're on the set at 7. You start shooting. Mm-hmm. Finish sometimes 6, 7 o'clock at night. It's a long day.
Yeah, sounds it. Were you in any of the films?
Yeah, I was in Jailhouse Rock. I was in 2 or 3 of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Now, in the beginning, he wanted to be a serious actor. Did he kind of? I mean, the movies got kind of. Well, I call him like a cookie cutter. Did he? He learned. It seemed like he learned to dislike the movies. I mean, could you see that in him? Did he talk about that?
He did. Colonel made a sort of a predated deal, and they followed the program. After a while, the program got old. Elvis, he didn't like the songs. He didn't like the timbre of the movies, and but he was locked on a contract. He had to do it. Didn't have a choice.
Right.
So you make the best out of a bad situation. Although he didn't like it, but the good thing about Elvis is that he would always fulfill his obligations. He had it to do it, and he did it. So, but there was some of the best decisions that Colonel ever made.
Yeah, yeah. No.
I mean, if Pictures have all made money now, my God, over a period of time, they do, So.
Yeah, I'm going to make a...
understand it, like Jailhouse Rock was done, was done 51 years ago.
Right.
Loving You was done 52 years ago. Love Me Tender was done 53 years ago. So you just say, over a period of time, if there's any sort of legs to it, it makes money. So.
Yeah.
By virtue of what Elvis was and how it happened and how he died and everything, his iconic stature has created, one hell of a money machine.
Well, did they try to? Did you, while you were on the movie sets, did you try to break up the monotony by just fooling around, or just?
Well, we always had a thing going. The group did. I always wandered from set to set, went over and saw the stars. And, the movies were being made, but we always clowned around and had fun. You had to, because it's monotonous. I mean, it's interesting for the star, but it's monotonous for anybody else. It's kind of like watching paint dry. I mean, the shots and stuff like that. You have to, and it's boring. It's boring as anything I've ever seen.
Really? Gosh. Now I'm going to make a big jump here. Now, can you tell me when Elvis met the Beatles?
Wait a minute. You know what? I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Okay.
No, Marty was. I was not.
Okay, doke. Okay, so we get past the Beatles since you weren't there. Can you tell me about when Elvis was going to get married to Priscilla? Can you tell me about that? About the wedding? I mean, the question I'm trying to get at.
There.
He wasn't there.
No, I was not there. I was living in Nashville. I was running these music publishing companies. And I came to the, I flew into Memphis for the reception he had in Memphis and everything. But I talked to him the next day after he got married. But, it was pretty hush-hush,
Yeah. Okay, can you tell me about the 68 comeback special? Was he nervous about getting back and doing something like that?
Oh, yeah, he was. I mean, it was, I hate the term comeback special. Hell, he never went anywhere.
I knew you were going to. I knew you were going to say that because
everybody nails it, the comeback special. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, and
it's it's just another phase of his career. Comeback. Hell, where'd he go? He didn't go anywhere.
Well, you know why I said that? Because I know I think people. That's what they name it. And if I said the Singer Special...
It's called the Singer...
Exactly.
Singer Sewing Machine Company. It was called the Singer Special.
Right.
And, it was not intended to be any comeback situation. It was a setup to get Elvis back on the road and back into Vegas. Into Vegas and things like that, or back into Vegas and things like that. But as a comeback, nah, it wasn't a comeback. I mean, it was just... It set him up to do the things he needed to do after getting out of the picture business for a while, because the picture business was really a detriment. It really cost him a lot of, it slowed a lot of things down. But as far as the term comeback special, fuck that. I don't like it. You can print it that way if you want to.
Did Elvis have a lot of say in what material was going to be used? I mean, they say that it was going to be a Christmas.
And what? Material you used in what?
In a Singer Special.
He had pretty well control of all of it.
He did?
Yeah.
He did. Okay, when did they decide? Well, that's when he basically decided that he wanted to start touring again, was right after the Singer Special? So I dropped that.
Colonel was working on the Vegas situation during...
Oh, he was?
After the Singer Special, yeah. And it was... it was another phase of his career to install a position where he could start, do Vegas and do the road and things like that. It was, and careers are built from, just sort of moves that create pockets of money. And Elvis, like any other entertainer, they created ways for him to make more money. And this was the way you do it.
Right.
He had not done a television show since he had Sullivan's show, so it was a perfect time to do it.
Right. Was he nervous about getting back into touring and doing live shows?
I don't think it's a case of being nervous. I think it was a case that like anything else, you hadn't done anything in a while, you got to get in shape. So, you know, the special helped that, and then going into Vegas helped him where he was able to go on the road, because he basically took his Vegas show on the road, what he did.
Almost like a fighter, then.
The same premise. It's not any really... I mean, you can compare it to anything, but basically it's the premise of, you know, you work, you know, you play small venues and big venues, stuff like that. And that's what happened. That Elvis just kept, I mean, he tuned his business up pretty good.
Yeah.
And he didn't do a comeback special.
I can't believe that. I knew that. I just knew that. I don't think I'll ever do another interview again and call it a comeback special because of you.
Not a good term.
How was, see, I can see some of these questions now. It's going to come over to you. How was Priscilla through the touring years? I mean, you would have to ask Priscilla.
She wasn't there.
Right. You would have to ask Priscilla.
Well, no, she wasn't there.
Well, during the early years.
You know, the girls were married. Elvis wasn't.
Right.
All of our wives were married. We weren't.
Oh, goodness. Okay. You remember when Lisa Marie was born? How was Elvis with little Lisa?
Well, it's just like anything else. He was really, really thrilled to death that she was born there in Memphis at the Veterans Hospital. I remember very well I was there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was just really, really happy about the whole thing, you know. Just,
like anybody would be.
Oh, I think it would handle it that way, yeah. I mean, he was really thrilled to death about it, you know, but Elvis wasn't tuned to be one of the best of fathers. And domestic tranquility never fit Elvis's image.
Well, see, I always felt the same way about. I didn't think Elvis ever. I don't think Elvis ever should have gotten married. I don't think that was for Elvis.
Well, that's another program, isn't it?
Yeah. So, was it hard on Elvis when he got his divorce and then? I mean, did he...
Well, it was hard money-wise. It cost him a lot of money. He was glad it was over with, but it was, you know, it was hard on everybody. And, you know, but it's like anything else. It's just something you got to go through. I mean, he chose to do it and went through it, and that's the way it happened. But it's not the best of times. It's not easy, you know.
Yeah. Lamar, could you see that Elvis was having problems during the later years? I mean, I'm talking, you know, 75, 76, 77. And can you tell me what was going on there? What was happening to Elvis?
Joe, we had to talk about that.
Okay, no, we don't. But I needed to ask you.
That's a question that when you ask, it answers itself.
I know.
You know, look, that's taking a dead horse, beating it, drilling it, and firing it up. And look, he had problems. You know, he had a lot of addictions, and it hurt him, and it eventually killed him. I don't know, however easy I can say it, it caused him to be in the ground, and he's dead. Yeah. Is that good enough, Joe?
Yeah, you could hear it in my voice. Yeah, I mean, I don't like asking that question, and I almost feel like I have to.
It's over with, and it was caused by accidental overdose. Look what happened to Heath Ledger. Look what happened to Brad Renfro. It's called accidental overdoses. You play with those things, and you're dancing with your life. And, you know, it's like a very thin line. You walk that line, and all of a sudden you screw up, and you're dead. You step over, and you're dead. It's terribly unforgiving. And it hasn't been going on now. It's been going on forever. So, and if that's what happened to Elvis, he OD'd.
It's just a shame that he couldn't. It's just a shame that he couldn't see that.
He hit the floor and he was dead. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Yeah. Can I ask how you had found out that Elvis had?
We're past that now. What?
Yeah. Can I ask you how you had?
Sorry?
Can I ask you? Can you tell me how you had heard Elvis had passed away?
I was in Portland, Maine, waiting, and I walked into the Colonel's room, and the Colonel said, he just hung up the phone with Joe, and he walked up to me, and he said, Lamar, Elvis is dead, you need to go back to Memphis right now. That's how I found out.
Wow. So you went to the funeral. You were a pallbearer, weren't you?
Pallbearer, yeah. Yeah.
They had to be very hard on everybody.
Now, let's get away from that, Joe. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing now, Lamar?
I'm retired. I do what I want to do. I live in Arlington. I live of course, in the Dallas area, and I like, I enjoy here, and I'm putting a book together that about all the great years that we had, and about the fun years of meeting all these stars and things like that. It's a interesting deal, and I'm doing that, and then I still own some music publishing companies, and I just basically, I think the term is I do what I want to do. I enjoy it, and I still do some speaking engagements and things like that. I sort of really enjoy myself. Thank God I'm able to do it, but I didn't mean to get rude about the death thing.
No.
So hammered and so.
You must get tired. I mean, you must get tired of it, Lamar. You must get tired.
I tell you when I get tired of it, don't I, Joe?
No, yeah, and that's fine. And
yeah, I mean, I'm just the way I am, Joe. The way you see me come is the way I leave. I don't beat around the bush. So
that's fine.
I find it's a lot easier, and it's just. I don't mean to be rude about it, but it's just, how much more can you talk about?
Right. No, you're right. You're right.
It's just, and you're talking about a man that's been dead now for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's just really, everybody knows what caused it, everybody knows what happened. And the good thing about the book, I talk about the Walter Mitty existence we lived in. It was phenomenal. We had a lot of fun and stuff like that, and different stars I met and things like that. So it goes beyond an Elvis book. But, it's really, you talk about some 21, 22-year-old guys that were just crazier than Barnhouse, and we had a lot of fun.
You must have had some great times.
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's very simple, but it's a way to put it.
Yeah. Can you believe that Elvis is still as popular today? Does that?
Yeah, I can. Well, look, when you reach that iconic statue that he did, and you have, the way that it's been handled and the whole thing, Priscilla likes to take credit, but it's not her. So, it's a group of people around her that happened because it happened. But, I don't think that she could, screw a light bulb in if somebody didn't tell her how to do it. But, that's, neither here nor there. I think probably one of my favorite things outside of Priscilla would be weaving barbed wire with my teeth.
So, yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate you doing this for me, but I'm going to just turn off the tape recorder, and I just want to thank you. So.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I assume you would be.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's okay, too. But, the point is, it's just, it's a situation, Joe, where, the good things of Elvis are the good things. And what he's caused and what he did are the good things.
Yeah.
And, I enjoyed every minute with him.
But do you think... Yeah, it must be so hard, because there's so many good things that happen that everybody wants to hear the bad thing. I wonder why people need to hear the bad thing. I really don't, but as a interviewer, Lamar, I feel like I have to, because people expect me to ask that question.
It's kind of like when I said it before, how many different ways can you ask that question?
Right. And how many times do people need to hear the same answer?
Yeah. Yeah. That's on this book. I'm putting together a situation where the things we did, the people I met, and the friendships I made over a period of years, and the fun we had, and a group of 21, 22-year-old guys having having the world by the ass, do whatever we want to do. So that's what's fascinating, and that's what's interesting. The other stuff has all been done. It's really. Look, he died. He OD'd. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It's a fact.
Well, see, with all these famous people that you got to meet, and all these famous people probably wanted to meet Elvis.
They did.
Yeah. Do you think that Elvis ever knew that he was that big?
Oh, he knew who he was. Oh, absolutely.
He knew that he was big.
Well, there's an assumptive measure that everybody lives up to if you're a star. But sometimes it gets beyond that. But no, to answer that question, yes, he knew who he was. He'd have been a fool not to.
So, but I don't think there's another personality, another celebrity that has got the same as Elvis. I mean, my God, there's not. I mean,
no, there's not.
Michael Jackson, forget it. I mean, there's not.
That's why the iconic statue's there. I mean, that's why. I mean, look, Elvis is, it's one of those situations of how long, and I mean, people like Elvis only happen every once in a while.
Well, could you see it happening, Lamar? Could you say, my God, this guy is so big?
I'm sorry?
Could you see it happen? I mean, did you ever say to yourself, my God, this guy is so big, does he even know?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yes. Well, my God, you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to understand it.
Yeah, like at Aloha and that. I mean, to see that. I mean, to me, to watch it on film, being a fan, saying, my God, this guy is so big and so talented. And for you to be there.
There was no ifs, ands, buts about it. It was just absolutely, we knew what it was. He did too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, my God, you'd have to be, living in a bubble not to know it,
Yeah, it's just, I don't want...
I mean, he grew to accept it. That was his gig, So.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate you talking to me, Lamar. I really do. And I don't take any... I understand where you're coming from.
No, I'm up front. And if you heard anything about me, that's where I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not being rude. I know the drift, literally, of interviews. I've done so many of them.
Uh-huh.
And I know how they go and where they come from. And it's a waste of tape to really consider that situation, because that horse has been ridden into the ground.
Uh-huh. Do you ever have any people that won't get away from it?
Well, around me, they get away from it.
Well, I knew very, very early in the interview, I said, a lot of these questions are gone. I can't ask these questions because I knew where you were coming from. It's like, I want to ask you a question, and I knew what your answer was going to be. You would have to ask that person. I know.
Where I'm coming from.
And I didn't take it that way, sir. I really didn't.
Well, as long as you did. But, I mean, if you do take it that way, then that's your problem, it ain't mine.
Yeah.
The situation is that I really, I think that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Uh-huh.
And I don't circumnavigate anything. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I find it's a lot easier. And, it's the reason I quit lying about 40 years ago, because I couldn't remember that well.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I've taken up too much of your time, but I really enjoyed talking to you.
Enjoy talking to you, Joe. If you need other time, you need something on your mind, something you want to talk about, just give me a call. You got my number.